Annie, my love, I'm seeing a knot. I'm seeing a knot. I hope this video helps you unravel this knot a little bit. It looked like I was tying it, so let's go ahead and pull that out. How can you get out of this knot? Let's do it. I'm excited. If you are new here and have no idea what's going on, hello, my love. My name is Riley X. I'm a professional astrologer, and this is called Roast or Reading. This is a type of session where I roast you in order to set you free. I want you to laugh at your wounds. I want you to understand what's holding you back so it doesn't seem like this big scary monster. I want it to be digestible. So, Annie, my love, let's dive in. So starting off with the fact that you are a Virgo rising. I love my Virgo risings. I feel like there's something about a Virgo rising I just love. It could be because I'm a Gemini rising, and I feel like you are the more serious version of me. Because Virgo wants to create order from the chaos. Virgo wants to figure out, okay, where's the logical way to actually make sense of this? As far as being a Gemini rising, it's more of like the goofy side of Mercury. Doesn't mean you're not goofy. You have your goofiness, but you can be much more logical in like, what actionable steps can I take, right? So being a Virgo rising, you are always being pulled into your Mercury, which is in your second house. This is beautiful being a Libra Mercury. You want to make sure the words that you're saying are actually helpful to people. I also feel like you know what to say. The second house is all about what value you bring to the table and how you see your personal value. So being a Libra Mercury, the only issue I tend to see with people who have this placement is they hold back their words a lot. They're afraid to express themselves too much because it might hurt somebody's feelings, or they may trigger somebody, or it may be too much. Now, this is intensified for you with Lilith here. Lilith is something that I don't necessarily always talk about because it's really just a shadow aspect, but because it's so close to your chart ruler, there's a bit more of an intensity to this placement. There's a bit more of a heavier focus on, if I say the wrong thing, people are going to think of me one way or the other, or I'm going to hurt somebody. And now your Venus is also here. Your Venus is involved. Your Venus is involved. That means you hold such a heavy value and a heavy weight on your words. That is the value you bring to the world, though, is the things that you say that could potentially shake somebody up. Pluto, Scorpio in the third. Millennial energy, right? You may be afraid to share what you know because it's either too intense, it may upset somebody, it may hurt somebody. But the truth of it is, when you use that to heal people, which is your identity, is being a healer, that Virgo energy, being a Virgo rising, being a Sun and Mars all in Virgo, when you learn to trust yourself with the power of your words, when you learn to trust yourself with how intense what you're saying can be, and you let yourself wait for the right people to hear what you have to say and listen to you on a deeper level, when you find the right people, they will hear you. But I think for you, it can feel a little bit like, I'd rather just not say anything. And I just ask you to trust that there are people out there that want to hear what you have to say. You just got to be okay with maybe triggering others. I had to say that. Okay. Now let's come back to this first house, because your first house is very loaded, and the first house is such a tricky place because it is really beneficial. It is really positive. It's all about you. But when you have your Sun, your Mars, your Sun is your identity, your ego. Your Mars is how you take action and what motivates you. So for all of this Virgo energy to be here, you are motivated by helping others, by doing things, by being of service, by making things happen, by being the one with your hands in the clay. And this is a bit of a catch-22 Because in the first house, there's such a self-awareness. So you may be overly critical, overly aware of like, am I doing enough? Who am I? Am I good enough? And when you learn to use that towards being the best version of yourself instead of beating yourself up into the best version of yourself, because you can't beat yourself up enough to become someone you love. You can't hate yourself into someone you love, right? And I'm not saying you hate yourself, but being so self-aware can be very polarizing. It can be very triggering at times. So learning to do the things that you love for yourself and not feeling like you're waiting for others to get it, that is where your power is. When you do things for yourself, when you nurture yourself, when you pour back into your cup. I know I say this to everybody, but for you, this is even more important to understand. When you really sit with that truth and you understand that on a deeper level, you're going to feel more empowered. You're going to feel more energized. You're going to have more energy to actually do the things that you want to do. Now, what are the things that you want to do? Girl. Cries in Capricorn. Capricorn, I don't really look at the vertex. It's kind of more of like a, I'm not saying that it's wrong. It's just people usually use it to try and predict what will happen in your life. And I just don't use astrology like that. So we're not talking about the vertex today, but that still leaves 4 placements in Capricorn. Your moon, your Neptune, your Saturn, your Uranus, most of these being in your 5th house. The 5th house is all about creativity, creation, pleasure, joy. Capricorn wants proof first. Proof of why you're resting, proof of why you're happy, proof of why you think you're good at what you're doing. Proof. I want proof. You can't have the proof first. You have to let yourself lean into it. I know. Believe me, as a Capricorn moon, I really wish I could give you a hug through the screen right now. All of this Capricorn in the 5th house is so powerful if it's not used to beat yourself up. If you use Capricorn energy to build, this is where I think your chart is so interesting, because the heavy earth energy of, am I doing enough? Am I good enough? Am I working hard enough? What am I actually doing with my life? There can be like this really intense, overwhelming, pressure, especially because Saturn is here. Like, it's intensifying the fact that you already have a Capricorn moon. You have to learn to be lighthearted with it. You have to learn how to lean into what you love because you love it. Now, why could this be so difficult for you? And how do you get through it? Both of those answers are literally opposing all of this. You have your Chiron in Cancer with your Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter expands anything it touches. Chiron in Cancer is the wound of family, the wound of the mother, the wound of emotion. And Jupiter is expansion, growth, desire, excitement, luck, right? So by learning how to lean into not only getting excited about things, but letting yourself feel your feelings, you're going to move through resistance and you're going to start to expand. The wounds that you face, the fears that you have, the self-doubt, the emotional wounds, the blockages on feeling your feelings, which are probably really intense. I think for you, one of the biggest things you could struggle with is actually just feeling your feelings. I'm willing to bet there have been times that you've actually become physically ill and you're like, where did this illness come from? You weren't feeling your feelings and it had to come out some way. I firmly believe that. So with this energy going on in your 11th, I also think there is this fear of being perceived incorrectly. You have a difficult chart, my love. I'm not going to lie to you. This doesn't mean that it's impossible. Right now, Jupiter is in your 10th house. So you're being asked to expand your ideas on what you really want to do for your career. It may not necessarily be the time that you take action on it, but it is the time for you to think bigger. And once Jupiter moves into Cancer, you're going to be able to heal from this on a deeper level. Will it be triggering? Maybe a little bit, but you can do it. Now, your North Node in Aquarius in the 6th house is no joke, because Aquarius North Node is already somebody who their life story tends to be like a telenovela, like this dramatic, emotional story. And you're also somebody that wants to change the world. You're somebody who has been through bad things, so you want to do something to help others. With it in your 6th house, if you can find a way on a daily basis to create a space for yourself to share your light, to become the version of yourself you really want to be, to love the things that you love, not doing it because somebody else needs you, but doing it because you love it and being an inspiration, that is what you're supposed to be doing on a daily basis. Pluto is going to help you figure this out as well. Pluto in your 6th house is probably causing a lot of deep transformation, a lot of unearthing. It will get easier the more you understand why you're being unearthed. And this summer, I want to say it's July, might be, I might be getting Uranus mixed up. Hold on. I want to say it's May, June, July. In the summer, Jupiter moves into Cancer. So you are going to start to heal from this if you haven't already. You are going to let go of these wounds once you realize those wounds were lessons on how you can help others, how you can be the best version of yourself, and how you can really fulfill this desire to be someone who's helpful, to be somebody who speaks your truth and helps others understand themselves. As part of Fortune in Aries, I'm loving the part of Fortune in Aries in the 9th. Understanding yourself, loving yourself, finding luck in the adventure of self. Don't underestimate whatever it is that you're working on right now. Don't underestimate the growth that you're experiencing through whatever decisions you're currently making. You're meant to do a bunch of different things. You have a Taurus midheaven. So the desire to be stable and to feel more secure is probably so intense. Find safety in whatever it is that you're looking for so you can actually grow. And I just want to give you permission to lean into what you love more. Whatever it is that you love, whatever it is that sparks you up, whether it's an actual creative energy, a creativity, it could be so many things, or it could literally be a passion for business with Capricorn in the 5th. That doesn't mean that you have to be, but you could. And I think what's interesting is your chart really speaks to being someone who's really hard on yourself and also being someone who can actually make change for yourself and others when you stop being so hard on yourself. I know, I'm a Capricorn moon, I get it. I really, really get it. And I want you to understand how much I get it. Last thing, subconscious work, girl. That subconscious work, I'm gonna need you to start to really reprogram your mind on loving yourself. The South Node in Leo, way too much self-sacrifice, way too much like leaving yourself behind in order to help others. There has to be a better balance, okay? And you can find it, and you will find it, but you may need to like meditate yourself, reprogram your mind, and like hypnotize yourself into seeing your worth. But once you do, and you just start doing things because you want to do them, and you get excited about doing them, and you start to create real stability, and you move through these wounds, your chart is going to be fun, and you're going to feel good about it, and you're going to be excited about it, and you're going to be able to lean into this Libra energy without the fear of being this Lilith energy. Whew. I genuinely hope this is helpful, my love. Thank you so much for booking, Annie. I really appreciate you. I hope this is helpful. As always, please let me know if you have any more questions. And if you are not Annie, but you would love to deep dive into your personal natal chart, you can book a session with me at rxtarot.com. Good. Perfect. Love you.